morning, good afternoon, good evening. Many people have listened to what Professor Madhuku said regarding the proposal by Mnangagwa to amend the constitution to allow himself to stay in office beyond the two-term maximum limit. Many people could not understood what he said, but were surprised. And I have to admit it, I too am surprised that he has come out so strongly in condemnation of this attempt. Let's just listen to the video.
An issue called constitutionalism requires that you actually have, among other things, separation of powers, regular elections, term limits, etc. Zimbabwe will stand out there to be a country that doesn't want to become part of the world, because the majority of the people, even around us, they don't get scared when they know that their president's term is coming to an end. It will undermine the credibility of the country. It will also affect even investment in this country. If you can play around with the constitution the way some of these people are proposing, then that means you can play around with any other law other than the constitution. The constitution is the most important law. If you play around with it, then clearly you undermine the credibility of the country, even as a destination for business. My message to the people of Zimbabwe is, for once, let Zimbabweans show that they are people who can stand by certain interests that are important for all of us. To have a limited term of office for a president, for presidents to come and go, is the best thing for our country. It is in the best interest of our country. We took 37 years to have President Mugabe replaced. And we now have a situation where we replace our presidents every 5 or every maximum 10 years. And we must not lose that. Whatever it takes. And this is what I appeal to Zimbabweans. For once, let us be counted among others that have worked well in their own other countries.
Well, one cannot disagree with that. However, for those who are not familiar with the gentleman, they've got to question whether he is being genuine. Where is this new democratic favor come from? Or is he just being frivolous? Because while he says that Zimbabweans should cherish the opportunity to change the president every 5 years or 10 years maximum, he cannot deny that people have failed to do so in the past, even after the 2013 new constitution was written, because Zanu PF rigged the elections. And he has participated in these flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed. And knowing fully well that participating will give Zanu PF legitimacy. And yet he, like many other people in the opposition, have persisted in participating out of greed. Professor Madhuku was one of the presidential candidates in the 2018 elections. At the end of it, he was rewarded. He became one of the members of POLAD, a grouping of presidential candidates We had failed to win even one gravy train seat. And as a consolation prize, they became members of this group, POLAD, which was to receive a lot of perks, including diplomatic passports and twin cab trucks. And for Professor Madhuku himself, he was one of the commissioners of the commission appointed by Mnangagwa to investigate the shooting of Zimbabweans post the 2018 elections. No doubt he was well rewarded for his role. Zimbabwe has had the problem of participating in flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, knowing fully well that by participating, you're giving Zanu PF legitimacy. That point cannot be denied. SADC election observers condemned last year's elections as flawed. But they could not take the next logical step of denying Zanu PF political legitimacy because people like Madhuku, Chamisa, and others had participated in those flawed elections. They had conned their supporters to participate in their millions. Why? Greed. So the question now here before us. Professor Madhuku is condemning Mnangagwa for trying to tamper with the nation's constitution to extend his rule. The same gentleman has never condemned the Zanu PF rigging elections all these last 45 years. As much as people care about this particular clause, the maximum term limits should not be exceeded. Zimbabwe is a failed state because it has also failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections. We cannot deny that Zanu PF rigged the elections. He participated in 2018. In fact, one of the conditions for him to join POLAD was that he was to come out and say those elections were free, fair, and credible. And he did. He participated in the 2023 elections. No doubt with the view that at the end of the day, he will get a return on his investment because all the presidential candidates in 2023 were asked to pay a nomination fee of $20,000 US. But if at the end of the day you become a member of POLAD, it was an investment because the twin cab trucks that they got after the 2018 election were each worth $60,000 US. So it's a good investment. Alas, after the 2023 elections, Mnangagwa forgot about POLAD. So one has got to ask whether Professor Madhuku is denouncing Mnangagwa's move now, of anger that Mnangagwa did not honor the formation of POLAD after 2023? Is this a warning shot to Mnangagwa that people like him should not be forgotten? We know that Mnangagwa will rig the referendum. We know that Mnangagwa, part of the rigging would be bribing all the individuals the dictator thinks will help him get over the line. So could this be Professor Madhuku firing a warning shot to Mnangagwa that people like him should not be forgotten? They could make it very difficult for him. In the 2023 elections, many key people, including judges, senior civil servants, senior police officers, MPs, senators, ministers, deputy ministers, they were each paid what was conveniently called a housing loan. For MPs, $40,000 US. For deputy ministers, $230,000 US. For judges, $400,000 US. For ministers, $500,000 US. Mnangagwa is going to dish out a lot more this time. It desperately needs this amendment to go through. And no doubt he will be paying more housing loans. So the acid test whether Madhuku genuinely condemns Mnangagwa's move will be if Madhuku refused to participate in the flawed and illegal referendum process. It will come as strange since he has been participating in flawed and illegal electoral processes. But let's wait and see. That is the acid test that Professor Madhuku must now pass. Let's wait and see. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.